Welcome to West Country Wanderings and welcome to the city of Bristol, though it probably doesn't look like it. I'm here at the little hamlet called Blaise Hamlet, and this is maintained and looked after by the National Trust. All of these cottages here were designed by John Nash and built by John Hartford, who had them built for the retirees that worked on the nearby Blaise Estate. In fact, we're going to have a look at the Blaise Estate shortly, and also the Blaise Castle, which is a folly, and I'll show you around there because there's some really interesting things in that area. So why not join me again here on West Country Wanderings in Bristol? Now, if you do come to this fabulous spot, you need to be mindful that these cottages are lived in. It's a private place and a private space, so you can't have picnics here, not allowed to make noise, but you're allowed to wander around the village green, admiring the stunning architecture of these beautiful cottages here in Bristol. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little tour here at Blaise Hamlet. No, it's not the end of the video. We're going to go on now to the Blaise Castle Estate and have a look at Blaise Castle itself and tell you some interesting things about that area. So why not continue the tour here on West Country Wanderings? So now I've just walked up the hill from Blaise Hamlet into the grounds of Blaise Castle Estate. It's currently owned by Bristol City Council, but the history goes back a long time before that. And we have a mansion house here as well as a castle folly, and I'll tell you more about that in a bit. But it's delightful. You've got these thick brick walls there, because that road, it's a one-way road, but it is quite busy. Traffic heading down to the M4 and the M5. These protect it from the noise of that traffic, and it's delightful to be here, escaping from the noise of the traffic on this beautiful early summer day here at the beginning of June. There is a community garden here at Blaise. Unfortunately, I've just missed it. It's now 3 o'clock. I was doing some editing this morning, so I've come here a little bit too late for that. But it's open 10 to 2, Wednesdays and Saturdays, and it's through the gates there. Now, around the estate, and the modelling for the park itself was done by Sir Humphrey Repton in the middle part of the 19th century. Have these follies here too. So it's all about the follies here. Everything is a bit of a sham thing done either in the 18th or 19th century, and I'll give you more information about that in a bit. But this is a beautiful place to come on a beautiful day to escape the hustle and bustle of urban life here in Bristol, and it's surprising just how big this park really is. Now, we're currently looking at Blaise Castle House, and the estate was owned, unfortunately and rather sadly, by sugar and plantation merchant called Thomas Farr, who bought it from Astor's descendants in 1762. And he also built the sham castle, which we'll have a look at later. Farr went bankrupt, and when ships he owned were blockaded during the American Revolution War, the estate was bought in 1778 by Denham Skeet, a lawyer from Bath. 11 years later, he sold it on again to John Hartford, who was a wealthy Bristol merchant and banker who demolished the old house in 1789 and had the present two-storey building, which is Grade 1 listed. And it was designed by one William Patey, P-A-T-Y, and it's square stone block using Bath stone. Now, when I was looking at my OS map earlier on, it mentioned that there were caves here. I'm literally just come through the other side. There's some trees opposite that view I've just showed you of Blaise Castle House. I've just come into welcoming shade because it is rather a warm day now. And I think this is the entrance to, well, certainly at least one of the caves. And you can see they've put this grating over it at some point, metal grating, and they've partially filled it in. And then they've made sure that no one's getting in there by sticking in 2 large stone boulders there as well. But if you look down here, you can just see an archway going off into the darkness. Now, I don't know what those caves were for. What I do know is that prior to all of the unfortunate slave trade owners that kind of gentrified this place. It's an interesting noise. I have no idea what that is. Okay, right, okay. Have some noise going on here, not sure what it is. Now, I've just googled what that noise is, and I've gone onto the ITV West Country website, and it says on the 3rd of every month, and it's the 3rd of June today, at 3 p.m, and it is, a siren sound can be heard in Portishead, Avonmouth, Shirehampton, Pilning and Severn Beach, and we're close to those places on the west side of Bristol here. It is the sound of the Severn-side sirens warning people of possible incidents involving dangerous substances in Avonmouth. But providing you hear it on the 3rd of the month, thankfully it is, and 3 o'clock as well, it's most likely just a test. The test siren includes a 3-minute alert tone, a 1-minute silence, and a 1-minute all clear tone. Yes, so where were we before we were interrupted by those sirens? Yes, caves. I think there's several caves here. Some of them would have been mining for bricks and stones that would have been used on the estate. But as I say, this site goes back to the Neolithic times, a long time before the slave traders built their fabulous folligs, but unfortunately from slave trade money. Now the house has a museum too. Let's see if it's open today, because I've seen that there are people going inside the house, so let's see if we can get inside it. In the 1830s, John Scandrett Harford Jr. and his wife Louisa hired the services of Bristol architect Charles Cockerell to build this picture room here in Blaise Mansion House, which was used to house their art collection and also a venue for their parties. The Harford's family collection of paintings was then auctioned off, and the house was later sold after Mary Harford's death in 1919. Not much information about the original collection is available, but the paintings on display here are by 6 19th century Bristol artists. 3 of them moved to London to further their careers, including William James Muller and his friend George Arthur Fripp. And here we've got a collection of baths, and also mangles, which would predate our automatic electric washing machines. This bath here is actually a gas bath. Sounds rather alarming. It says underneath, directions for lighting: swing out the burner, turn on the gas, then wait a few seconds before applying the light. This is very important as it gives times for the gas and air to mix together, thus causing a blue flame without any smoke. Then turn the lighted burner under the bath. On no account light the gas burner before the water is put into the bath. Yes, I think that sounds quite scary. I love this household wants indicator there, it's tremendous. Some more kitchen equipment here. It's an old range there. It's a Herald range. Introduced by Russell and Sons of Derby around the turn of the century, around 1900. This contraption here is an oil cooking stove. Wow. That was really interesting. It's a hot day now, so before I head down to the dingle and show you the rest of Blaise Castle Estate, we're going to head over to the cafe. So I got my ice cream. It's really busy over by the cafe, so we'll come away from that, but it's to be expected because it's a Saturday in early June and it's a stunningly sunny and warm day here, so you can't blame people for coming out from the city centre to enjoy this wonderful estate here to the west of the city of Bristol. It's about 3.5-4 miles to the west of Bristol city centre. So I got Marshfield ice cream, which is produced in the village or town, that's the one, town of Marshfield. I did a video about that. If you've not checked that out, I'll put a link in the description of that. Did that about 18 months ago. So it's a town in the southern part of the Cotswolds, probably only about 15 miles to the north of Bristol. So in this viewpoint here, you get a sense of how big the estate is, and this is just a fraction of it. That over there is where the cafe is, and they've also got toilets over there. There's also a bus stop outside, so you can arrive here by bus, which is always a good option. No trains running today. Unfortunately, I had to bring my car because trains are on strike. Otherwise, I would have done train and bus. And over there is our house again, right over there. There's people out having barbecues here at the moment as well, which is really, really good to see. People, families coming together and enjoying themselves in the sunshine here in Bristol. So after the refreshments over by the cafe and coming down from the busier area, people are picnicking and barbecuing, going to head down now into the Coombe. I can't remember the name of the little brook that's at the bottom, but we're going to have a look. I think it's called for Gorham's Chair. See if we can find that before we head over to the castle and explore more of this interesting area in Bristol. So this here is Stratford Mill, long since closed. I don't know much history about this particular mill. Obviously powered by the stream there though these days, especially after we haven't had any rain. I was complaining about all the rain that we had in April and March and early May, and now we haven't had any rain for about 3 weeks. This has just gone down to a trickle here in early June. But yeah, it's wonderful to see part of the original gearing mechanism there. I'm sorry it's a bit grainy, it's very dark in here, but there is the original water wheel. Although it's in a rather dilapidated state, it's, well, almost intact. Wow.
That's the way we want to go.
I'm very glad of these trees here on a hot day like today, giving me some welcoming shade. It's about 23, 24 degrees now, pretty warm day, and it's now coming up to about 5 o'clock, so the temperatures will start to drop, and as I do that, I'll be able to climb again to show you some of the other facets of the amazing Blaise Castle Estate here in Bristol. But it's good to see, as I say, people out walking, families walking around, people cycling. That mill was fabulous there. I managed to get a monochrome shot of that. Now this behind me here is known as the Giant's Footprint. I'll insert a couple of photographs. Now it actually works better in monochrome. Put them in now so you can see why. Obviously it's the limestone formation on the top where I've climbed high up the coombe from the little stream down the bar. We were down by the bottom, and we're now making our way across towards the castle. Now this behind me here isn't a cave that we saw earlier on in the video, but a grotto, probably put in when Sir Humphrey Repton landscaped the land hereabouts, all around the folly, which we'll see in a bit. But yeah, this is really pleasant to see. It's also nice and sheltered and cool, tucked away into the limestone cliffs. Now, Blaise Castle behind me was built in 1766 by Robert Milne. It cost £3,000 to build, and it was built on the site of a previous chapel dedicated to St Blaise. It was also mentioned in Jane Austen's Northanger Abbey book too. The castle's built of local ashlar stone, a very popular stone used in lots of buildings in and around Bristol, but the dressings, including the castellations on the top, are built of the local limestone, which is hereabouts in the limestone gorge here on the Blaise estate. In the 19th century, it was a popular tourist attraction, paying visitors to go up and see it, and the top of it affords views right across the Avon Gorge and down towards Sabrina and the Severn Bristol Channel too. It was then taken over and people lived in it during the 20th century, and it was elaborately decorated too. In 1957 it was restored, but today sadly it's closed off to the general public, but very occasionally City of Bristol Council do have open days on guided tours on it. Now, I've just checked the notice board on the door behind it, on the castle door, saying that the next time it's open is Sunday the 18th of June between 2 and 4:30. Admittance is free, unbelievably, but they do obviously welcome donations. Well, with this stunning view behind me here at Blaise Estate here in Bristol, that's it for today here on West Country Wanderings. I hope you enjoyed it today. If you did, please consider a like, a share, subscribe, the usual sort of stuff. Love to know if you've been here yourselves as well. It's a fantastic place to explore. As I say, you can hear coming using public transport. There's a bus stop outside, but as I say, there was no trains running today. Until next time, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves. Hope to see you on the channel again very, very soon. All the best. Cheers now. Bye-bye.